ओके, स्क्रीन विजिबल है, स्टार्ट करें।
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, so let's begin the session. This is lecture number 29, and in this lecture we will cover make sublayer protocol part 3. So in the last lecture we have covered carrier sense multiple access protocols, in which we have already discussed different category of CSMA protocols like non-persistence. We have discussed what kind of protocol it is, how it works in the network, how the station sends to the transmission medium, and how it takes decision whether it should load the data in transmission medium or not. So non-persistent CSMA, one persistent CSMA, and P persistent CSMA. We have already discussed in the last lecture. Now let's discuss wireless LAN protocols. The same things which we have already discussed in the cable medium or wired transmission medium. If we have a wireless transmission medium, then how stations get acknowledgement that medium is busy or free. So IEEE 802.11 is definitely the premier standard here, allowing transmission at Ethernet speeds 10 Mbps with higher speed planned for the future. First of all, we should know, if we talk about the wireless LAN, that is, there is no connection, there is no physical connection between two systems or two stations. Still, we want to transmit the data. So during the transmission, again we have some list of protocols that deals with the wireless network. So IEEE is one kind of organizations, and the Ethernet 802.11 is a standard provided by the IEEE for wireless LAN protocols. So theoretically, we understand wireless LAN protocol, but IEEE provided a standard 802.11 which describe the list of protocols work on wireless LAN. So anytime if you want to connect two device, that is there is no physical connection between devices, and we want to design such kind of network, then we have to follow the standards 802.11. So 802.11, that is a standard, it is a protocol provided by IEEE organization, and it is premier standards. We cannot change. And what it does, so it allowing transmission at Ethernet speed 10 Mbps with higher speed, may be planned for the future. It maybe goes on gigabit per second in that speed, but initially it has started from 10 Mbps, but in future it may be greater on. There are two ways of wireless LAN operates. First is point coordinated functioning, PCF mode, and distributed coordinated functioning, DCF. So there are two ways how wireless LAN operates, but it is not in our syllabus, so we will not go in the depth. Just you have to understand the mode of wireless communication, PCF mode and DCF mode. So there are two ways of wireless LAN operates. It may be point to point, and it may be in distributed manner. Like in the Ethernet or a local area network, if you design some topology, then there are two ways. You can connect directly to PC with physical connections, and maybe you use some topologies like ring topology, star topology, hybrid topology, mesh topology, bus topology. So in that manner, you can connect the computers together. But remember, we are talking about the wireless LAN, so there are different architecture, different operating modes. So there are two operating modes used in wireless LAN, PCF and DCF, point coordinated functioning and distributed coordinated functioning. Bluetooth is not truly a wireless LAN standard but a personal area network. You are aware the term Bluetooth, every mobile having the concept of Bluetooth, every laptop having the concept of Bluetooth, but it is not a purely wireless LAN standard. It is designed for making a personal area network, and that network is totally based on wireless technology. So Bluetooth is not truly wireless LAN standard but a personal area network. It provides a 1 Mbps channel to connect up to 8 devices together. So it is again a wireless network, and the speed of Bluetooth is 1 Mbps. So each and every channels can transmit the data from 1 Mbps speed, and maximum 8 devices can be connected in a Bluetooth technology. Another wireless LAN protocols is radio frequency. We understand whatever the signal received by the mobile and laptop, these are all radio frequencies. So RF, that is a radio frequency technology, is also often used for wireless data network. So in wireless LAN protocol, there is again a technology called radio frequency, and that technology is used to often transmit the data in wireless mode. It provides good speeds but is limited by need to maintain line of sight between communication devices. So radio frequency having the greater speed, but it has also some limitations. That means the transmitter and receiver should lie line of sight communication. Otherwise, if there are building between two stations or any obstacles may occur in two stations, so radio frequency cannot work properly. So we will take some examples. What is the example of radio frequency? We will understand later on. But you just understand it should require a line of sight communication. Line of sight communication, you should know. Let's understand with the diagram. Line of sight communication. Let's suppose this is transmitter, and there is a receiver. So we have seen you have seen so many antennas work as a transmitter and receivers. So the line of sight communication tells us both the transmitter and the receiver, both antennas should be in front of each together. This is called a line of sight communication. So radio frequency works in the concept of line of sight communication. So transmitter, the purpose of transmitter is generate the radio waves, generate the radio frequencies and broadcast in the direction of receiver. So it generate some radio frequency in that manner, and it goes to the receiver side, right? So their line of sight communication should be there, but let's think about if there is any obstacle. Let's suppose there is a building or there is a huge plants. This is suppose huge buildings. which makes obstacle or which makes interrupt between transmitter and receiver. So radio waves having the high frequency waves, it cannot penetrate, some radio waves cannot penetrate the buildings or wall, so the radio frequency cannot reach to the receiver side. So this is the drawback of some radio frequencies. Those frequency which having a greater frequency that cannot penetrate to the wall, so it will absorb by the buildings or walls. So this is the drawback of radio frequencies. But of course, there are some radio frequency which having a lower frequency. So lower frequency can penetrate to the wall and reach to the destination or receiver side. But you should remember that if we want to make a communication in wireless LAN, then the transmitter and receiver should lie each together. So both should be exist and both should be done line of communication, line of sight communication. Transmitter and receiver both should lies in front of each together. Now types of MAC frames, media access control protocols based on some Ethernet, based on some wireless LAN protocol. So it required some frames to acknowledge like RTS frame, CTS frame, and ACK frames. These are three frames. RTS stands for request to send. It alerts all the stations in the coverage area of its source, indicating the duration for which the transmission medium will remain engaged. It is also the request to the destination station for a response, confirming its readiness to accept the frame. Now let's understand with the diagram what kind of RTS frame and what is the function of RTS frame. So we are discussing the types of MAC frames, media access control frames. First one is RTS. Basically RTS stands for request to send. Let's suppose this is the station. There are so many stations. Station 1, station 2, station 3, and station 4. And each stations are connecting each other in wireless mode. That is the symbol of connecting wireless mode. So this is the symbol of wireless connection between devices or between stations. So we have to understand what kind of RTS frame. So RTS is a request to send. Suppose station 1 interested to send the data frame, interested station 1 for transmission. So before transmission, what it does, it make RTS frame to all the stations. This is the first request. Suppose this is the second request for station number 3 and the third request for station number 4. Now in the requesting, it sends RTS frame. So that is request for all the stations, station 2, station 3 and station 4, and that request is as station 1 because station 1 wants to transmit the data in wireless network. So before start the transferring of data, it first start the transmission of RTS frame just for getting acknowledgement whether station 2, 3, 4 is ready or not, right? Like in Ethernet, you type ping command. Suppose I want to check that IP address is currently working or not, the destination machine is currently connected in the local area network or not. So we should check ping 192.168.1.6, right? So it will send some ICMP packets as an acknowledgement. So if we get ICMP packets as an acknowledgement, we understand we are connected with the PC 1.6 in local area network, which is a kind of wired network. But we are not dealing with the Ethernet, we are not dealing with the local area network. We are dealing with the Ethernet, that is totally wireless LAN. So in wireless LAN protocol or wireless LAN, we should understand which device are ready or not, right? So just to understand station 2, 3 or 4 is ready to accept my frame or not, we sends RTS frame. So that is why the name of RTS is request to send. So before sending the data frame, station 1 makes request to station 2, 3 and 4. Are you ready to accept my data frame? So this is the actual working of RTS. So again, I will read so that you understand. It alerts all the stations in the coverage area. As I told you, that is the coverage area. And in the coverage area, there are 3 stations connected to the station 1 in wireless mode. Its source indicating the duration for which the transmission medium will remain engaged. It is also the request to the destination station for response, confirming its readiness to accept frame. So if station 2, 3 and 4 are ready to accept the frame coming from the station 1, then station 2, 3, 4 will acknowledge to the station 1. Right? So let's understand the second frame, that is CTS, clear to send frame. It is sent as a response to RTS frame by the destination station of RTS. Now suppose station 2 is busy. Let's suppose station 2 is busy. It is not ideal and it is not intended to receive the RTS frame, and it is not interested to receive the data frame coming from station 1. But station 3 is ready. Station 4 is again a busy. So in that case, the ready station is station number 3. It will acknowledge to the RTS frame. So as a request, it accepts the RTS frame. In ready situation, what it does, the station 3 accept RTS frame and reply in terms of CTS, clear to send. So you can say it is a one kind of acknowledgement frame coming from the destination to source. right? So it is sent as a response to RTS frame by destination stations of RTS. It is also alert all the stations in its coverage area, indicating the duration for which the transmission media will remain engaged. So two things it tells to the source machine: I am ready to accept your data frame, and tell me the duration, how much time it will take. Duration is also understood by the source and destination machine. So station 1 sends RTS frame just for checking readiness to the destination machines. If server is ready or station is ready, then it will send CTS signal to the sender machine, and both having the agreement about the duration, how much time it will take to get engaged, right? So maybe station 1 having a buffer, and in that buffer it have a number of data frames to be sent. Let's suppose this is the buffer, and the size of buffer is suppose 1000 byte. So station 1 interested to send 1000 bytes of data to station 3. So maybe it will take 5 minutes or 10 minutes, let's suppose. So the 5 minutes, if it is the time duration, so there should be engagement of 5 minutes. So station 1 and 3 are connected for 5 minutes to each other. So two things should be clear before start transmission. First, station 1 sends RTS signal to station 3. Station 3 revert CTS signal that is clear to send, and it is kind of data frames, make frame. It tells to the station 1 that I am ready to accept your data frame. And also there are some time durations that are engaged station 1 and station 3. So this is the second frame, CTS. Second is CTS, that is clear to send frame. And the third one is acknowledgement, ACK frame. This frame is sent by the destination station, acknowledgement of having received a data frame, management frame, etc. So third one is acknowledgement frame, ACK frame. So after making agreement about the time duration, about the clearance of whether you are ready or not, so this kind of agreement done between two devices, two stations, and then station 1 start sending number of frames one by one. Station 3 received one by one frame and getting generate the acknowledgement frame and send to the sender machine. So this is the purpose of acknowledgement frame, right? So this is the types of MAC frames: RTS request to sends, CTS clear to sends, and ACK acknowledgement frame. Now let's understand another concept, that is Ethernet. Types of Ethernet: fast Ethernet, gigabit Ethernet, and 10 gigabit Ethernet. Fast Ethernet. In computer networking, fast Ethernet is a collective term for a number of Ethernet standards that carry traffic at nominal rate of 100 Mbps per second against the original speed of 10 Mbps or 10 bit per second. And in order to achieve the fast Ethernet, there is a cable or there is a Ethernet standards 100 base TX. This is the standard having some significance like 100 tells us the speed of cable. This is the baseband signal, and TX is a twisted pair cable. So Ethernet, we are talking about the local area network that are designed by using the cables. So every Ethernet having different speed depending what kind of transmission media we are using to make local area network. If we have a twisted pair cable, then the standard we should follow 100 base TX. So you should understand fast Ethernet are those Ethernet which having a speed from 100 megabit per second. Originally it is 10 megabit per second. Now Bluetooth layer architecture and protocol stack. This is again a very important question, and in GTU most of the questions asked in GTU exams explain the Bluetooth layer architecture and their protocol stack. We have to explain the Bluetooth layer architecture. That means in Bluetooth wireless technology, what the architecture it has, how many protocols it has in the stack, and how Bluetooth technology works. So that we have to understand how Bluetooth layer architecture works. So as OSI reference model, we understand there are total 7 layers. In TCP/IP protocol, there are total 5 layers. Similarly, in Bluetooth layer architecture, there are 4 layers. First is physical radio layer, second base band layer, third audio layer, and fourth is application layer. So Bluetooth is a technology which having certain layered architecture, and this is the 4 layers: physical radio layer, base band layer, audio layer, and application layer. So let's understand first physical radio layer. What it does for the users, the physical radio layer correspond to the physical layer of OSI model. It deals with radio transmission and modulation. So if we talk about the Bluetooth technology, there is a first layer called physical radio layer, and it corresponds to the physical layer of OSI model. It is as good as the physical layer of OSI model. What it does for the user, it start the radio transmission, and if required it modulate to the frequencies. Modulation is another terms which means we change the signals. If we change any signals, then we can say we have modulate to the signal, and it is required. Sometimes we have to increase the strength of signals, sometimes we have to increase the energy of signals, because there are long distance signals. So during the long distance signal gets tired and signal gets weakened. So in order to reach the destination, we should have provide another energy, some more energy to the signals. So physical radio layers, it deals with the radio transmission and modulations. The radio layers moves data from master to slave or slave to master. There is another terms like master and slave. So as I told you in the introductory part of Bluetooth, there is a master device and there is a slave device. Device that initiate the Bluetooth connections is called master device, and all the device that receives the connections and connect to the Bluetooth, these all devices are called slave devices. So in Bluetooth architecture, we can have total 8 number of devices that are connected to each other in wireless technology and get transmit the data and receiving the data. But we cannot connect more than 8 devices in Bluetooth technology. So there are limitations in Bluetooth technology, how many devices we can connect in the Bluetooth. So answer will be there are total 8 devices can be connected in the Bluetooth technology. So in order to connect 8 devices, first of all, we should initiate the connection, right? So at least one station should initiate the connections. So that station is called master device. If you start initiation or searching a Bluetooth from your mobile, then your mobile become the master device. And those who are getting a request and making pairing with your devices, that all devices are called slave devices. So in Bluetooth technology, there are two kind of devices, master and slaves. Those device who start communication, those who start initiating to the signals for connecting, these devices are called master, and those devices who are receiving the connections request, those devices are called slave devices. So radio layers moves data from master to slave and slave to master. It is low power system that uses 2.4 gigahertz ISM band in a range of 10 meter. So again, we are getting the detail of physical radio layer of Bluetooth. It is low power system. So if you transfer the data by using Bluetooth technology, there is very low power consumption by your mobile or laptop. So it will not consume so many powers of your mobile. So it is low power system that uses low power to transmit the data, and it uses 2.4 gigahertz ISM band. That is the license ISM band, 2.4 gigahertz. That is the speed of ISM band used for transferring the data from master to slave or slave to master. And the range which we are talking about, that is a 10 meter, means the Bluetooth devices can be transmit the data or receiving the data at within the range of 10 meter. If any master device or slave device is out of 10 meter, then it will not eligible to receive the data or send the data packets. So it should in the range, it should in the coverage area of Bluetooth range, which is 10 meter. This band is divided into 79 channels of 1 megahertz each. In Bluetooth technology, there is a ISM band, and that band is divided into different 79 channels, and each channels having the size 1 megahertz. So we can have 79 different channels, and each channels can have 1 megahertz frequency. Bluetooth uses the frequency hopping spread spectrum FHSS. This is one kind of technique by which we can transmit the data from sender to receiver, but their medium is air, means wireless medium. So frequency hopping spread spectrum, that is the method in physical layer, and it is avoid interference from other devices of network. So because it is based on frequency, so it is not making any interference that are already exist in the network. So any device can start the communication, any devices start the transferring of data frame in wireless network by using FHSS method. In order to change bits into a signal, it uses version of frequency shift key called Gaussian frequency shift key. And it is again a name of method in which we have to change bits into signal. right? Because the technique we are using frequency hopping spread spectrum. So somehow we have to change binary data into frequency, or frequency is nothing about, it is a related terms to the signals. So first of all, we have to change binary data into a signal, then signal having the characteristics of frequency, and it is separated by the stations. So in order to change bits into a signal, it uses a version of frequency shift key, is called Gaussian frequency shift key. So this is one kind of modulation technique, you can say, in which a binary information change into a signal. As I told you, the modulation means the changing of signals, customizing on signals. So the binary information converted into signals. This is done by the method, and that method is known as frequency shift key or Gaussian frequency shift key. Here Gaussian is the name of scientist which developed the technique FSK, frequency shift key. So this is the first layer of Bluetooth technology and Bluetooth layered architecture. Second layer is baseband layer. The baseband and link control layer enable the physical connection between any Bluetooth enabled protocol. So what it does, it just make physical connection enable. It start enabling physical connection between Bluetooth enabled protocols. Like suppose master and slave want to connect to each other by using Bluetooth technology, then the baseband layer making an important role between us. This layer also controls the synchronization and the frequency hopping sequence. Synchronization, the control of synchronization means order. It maintains the order of data. It maintains the uh, ordering of binary sequences, ordering of the signals. That is called control of synchronization. So suppose a device want to send a number of signals to the receiver machine, then the signals should be reached in that proper manner. So this is the purpose of baseband layer. First is it enables the physical connection. Second, it controls the synchronization. Third layer of Bluetooth technology is audio layer. Audio transmission can be predefined between one or more Bluetooth enabled units using number of different uses model. We know that by using Bluetooth technology, we can initiate call, we can receive the audio calls, we can generate the audio calls, right? We can start the music by using Bluetooth technology. So this is one kind of purpose of audio layers. So audio transmission can be predefined between one or more Bluetooth enabled units using a number of different uses model. And the protocol which deals with audio layer is L2CAP. This is the name of protocol, and that protocol should have in the mobile device. If you want to connect audio devices, if you want to send audio clip from master to slave or slave to master, then L2CAP comes into the picture. So audio data does not go through the L2CAP but directly between two Bluetooth units. Next is LMP, that is Link Management Protocol. It is again a protocol used in Bluetooth technology. It is responsible for link setup between Bluetooth enabled units. So LMP is, it is a protocol of Bluetooth technology, and what is the purpose of LMP? It set up the links between Bluetooth enabled units. Link Manager protocol also handles management of power modes, power consumption, and Smith and state of Bluetooth unit in a Piconet. So LMP protocol does a lot of things in a Bluetooth device. It also maintain the power modes. It also maintain the power consumption and also maintain the state of Bluetooth unit in the Piconet. There is again a terms introduced, Piconets. Let's understand. Bluetooth layer architecture and their protocol stack. Let's suppose there is a Piconet, Piconet 1. You can say a small Bluetooth network is called Piconet, where some master device, suppose this is master device, slave, slave, and slave. This is master device, slave, slave, and slave. Master connected to slave, slave, and this master is connected to slave. And there is suppose another Piconet, a small Bluetooth network. Let's nomenclate it to Piconet number 2, and that Piconet 2 is also some slave device and one master device. So one Piconet can have a maximum 8 number of devices. So this is the Piconet. It is a small, you can say a local area network of Bluetooth, where some master device can have and where some slave device can have. And suppose if you want to connect two Piconets, so there should be wireless connection between two slave, one slave from one Piconet device and second slave from second Piconet network, and this should be connected in wireless medium in this way. So there is no physical connections. You should understand there is a connection. This is the symbol of wireless network. So we can say these slave devices from Piconet 1 and these slave devices from Piconet 2 are connected in wireless mode. So this is how a Piconet can design one scatter net. This is the concept of scatter net, where two Piconets and more than one Piconets can be connected together. So this is the Bluetooth layer architecture, and it is a small local area network of Bluetooth having one master device and can have number of slave device. Master device initiate the connection, slave accept the request and connect with the master devices. In this way, a Bluetooth works. And if you want to connect other Piconet, then at least one slave should connect with the another slave. This is again connected with the wireless. Master and slave is again connected with the wireless, and this one is again connected with the wireless. So I hope you understand the purpose of link management protocol. It handles management of power modes. It handles the power consumption and state of Bluetooth units in Piconet. State, I mean to say whether it is a master or a slave. It is active or deactive. What kind of state a Bluetooth unit in the Piconet. And the next one is logical link control and adaptation protocol L2CAP. It is very important protocol. It is very important protocol used in Bluetooth technology. This protocol is situated over the baseband layer. First of all, where it is lies. So L2CAP exists on baseband layer. Beside the link manager protocol in Bluetooth protocol stack. So the position of L2CAP protocol is situated on baseband layer and beside the LMP protocol, link management protocol. It provides connection oriented and connection less data with security to upper layers. Like TCP provide connection oriented protocol, it provide the connection, it establish the connection first, then start transmission of data. Similarly, L2CAP, it provide connection oriented and connection less, both kind of data with security it provided. And what it handle mainly, it is done multiplexing, segmentation and assembly and quality of services. This is the three major tasks done by the L2CAP protocol. Multiplexing means it multiplex a number of signals and convert it into a single channel, a single signal. This is called multiplexing. And we have already discussed the multiplexing technique, how it works. Segmentation and assembly, more than one segments can be transmitted from sender machine and can be received by the receiver machine, right? It assembles so many segments in orderly. So segment number 1, 2, 3, 4 sent by the sender machine and receiver will receive in the same order segment number 1, 2, 3, 4. This is called assembly, right? And quality of service, before receiving any segments, first it will check the quality of service. The data should not be changed during the transmission. So this is called quality of services. While you are talking with the Bluetooth, like suppose your mobile having a Bluetooth technology and you have use earphone which are again a Bluetooth enabled earphone, and you can check the quality of services whether you are listening of my voice, is it clear or not, is there any problem in your earphone or not. So that is the quality of service. If you are listen properly my voice and your device are connected in Bluetooth manner, then we can say yes, it is a good quality of service. So sometimes it may be a bad quality. So this is the purpose of logical link control and adaptation protocol: multiplexing, segmentation and assembly, and quality of services. So this is done. So today we have discussed Ethernet. We have understand a fast Ethernet. We have understand the Bluetooth layer architecture, some layers which design the Bluetooth technologies, their layer architectures and protocol stacks. Protocol stack we have understand. This is the layers of Bluetooth. LMP, L2CAP. This is the protocol of Bluetooth. and some wireless LAN protocols. The mode of wireless PCF and DCF, and some data frames used in MAC Media Access Control Protocol, RTS frame, CTS frame, and ACK frames. So I hope you're getting my point. Still, if you have any doubt, you can ask a question. अगर आपको कोई डाउट आता है आज के टॉपिक में तो आप क्वेश्चन कर सकते हैं.